All right, let's hope you understood everything there with map. Now we're going to go on to the next of the array methods, which is dot filter. So dot filter is pretty common sense. It will take in an array, and if you say at every, you'll return something. Just like on the other one, you'd return what you wanted the copy to be. In this case, if you return true, it'll keep a value. If you return false, it will delete a value. So let's work on two little problems that I put together. So I'll do this first one and then I'll have you pause it and see if you can do this second one. So this first one is we're going to remove, actually, let's switch the order of these two, just because I know that this one will be easier than this one. So let's go through it. So removing all of the odds. So with this guy, we want to first write out the syntax. So let's make our copy just like we did before. So copy numbers. Let's call it copy nums. And we're going to say numbers dot filter. And then I'm going to put inside of it that callback function. And so what I need to do is I need to assume, I need to think, do I need the E, I, and the array? Because filter, just like map, will take in the element. It'll be able to take in the index and the array. And a lot of people write it like this. They'll put R, and they'll put I, and they'll put E. It doesn't matter how you write them. It just matters on the order that you drop them in to the arguments. So in this case, I'm just going to call it num because it's for each of the numbers for each of the num. I'll just write number for you guys. Let's keep it a num because number sounds too much like it's an actual name that's used in JavaScript. It sounds like let. It sounds like filter. These are words that sound like a computer word, but num, that doesn't really sound like a computer word. So for each of these ones, I want to only keep the odds. Now there's this cool sign called the modulus operator. Now, if you remember long division, when you do like 7 divided by 3, well, it goes in twice, but there's a remainder of 1. Modulus, so if I do 7 modded by 3, it only cares about the remainder. It doesn't care it went in twice. It only cares that there was a remainder of 1. So if I use this guy when I'm thinking of evens or odds, well, if I divide, let's think of the number 8. What makes 8 even? Well, the number 8 is even because 2 goes into it perfectly. There is a remainder of 0. So, and odds, say 9 divided by 2, 11 divided by 2, they're always going to have a remainder of 1, or negative 1 if it's a negative number. So if we think of this and we say, hey, if 7 modded by 3 is equal, or let's not have 7 and let's not have 3 because neither of those help us. If our number that gets passed in, so for each one, so first will be negative 1, then 2, then 4, then 7, then 9. So if the number modded by 2 is equal to 0, that's definitely an even number. So we want to return true. Now, else, we want to say, otherwise, if it returns some other value, obviously wasn't even, and there's only evens or odds. So else, return false. And voila. Hopefully, if we console log this, console log our copy numbers, let's see what happens. We only have 2 and 4. That's exactly what we wanted. So it kept those guys out of our array and got rid of the rest. Now, let's think about negative numbers. You're going to use pretty close to the same logic, but you're going to need to change this guy to get it to work. My advice, pause it, but also don't look back at this screen and just see what I've written. Try to write it yourself. Try to struggle. That's when your brain's actually going to learn. So I'll give you a second now to pause it. All right, hopefully that was enough time for you. Now, let's think about it in the same way. I'm going to comment this guy out because I don't want it to interrupt me. So we're going to say let copy numbers again. I'll just use the same exact name since it's copied out down below. We're going to say numbers dot filter, and it's going to take in a callback. So we always write the syntax first just so we know we don't screw something up. Now we're going to type num in there for each of our numbers. So for each of the num in numbers, so -1, then 2, then 4, then 7, then 9, then 11, we want to say If num is greater than or equal, depending on if I consider 0 a positive number. So if it's greater than or equal to 0, you know what? Let's return, oh, let's bring this down to the next line. Let's return true. Otherwise, if it is not greater than or equal to 0, we're pretty dang sure that we should return false. Now we have copy nums already down here. Let's run it. And we got rid of the -1 in the front and the -11 on the back. So that means everything that we were expecting works right here. So in the next video, we're going to keep going and I'm going to talk about the reduce array method, which is really helpful. It can do really just about anything that map and filter can do, but it does take a little bit more thought to execute. So I'll see you there. Bye.